"We've arranged a lovely corner table for you, sweetheart," my mother announced with that razor-sharp smile she reserved for her greatest disappointments. The main ballroom of the Grand Metropolitan Hotel glittered with crystal chandeliers and designer gowns, where my more accomplished siblings were already positioned at the head table for my father's retirement gala. "With your unconventional choices, we thought you'd prefer some privacy." I surveyed the ballroom center where my sister Victoria sparkled in her $50,000 Valentino gown, her pharmaceutical company's latest breakthrough making headlines. Beside her, my brother James adjusted his Armani tuxedo, his investment firm's billion-dollar merger still trending on financial news. "Of course," I replied softly, smoothing my elegant black dress. Understated perfection, custom-tailored by a designer whose name they wouldn't recognize because he only dressed women worth 9 figures or more. "It's just," my mother continued, her diamond necklace catching the light as she nervously touched her throat, "with your stubborn refusal to settle down and your little fashion hobby, we thought you'd be more comfortable away from the serious business discussions." Fashion hobby. That's what they called my global luxury empire while they assumed I was playing dress-up in some downtown studio. The corner table was reserved for failures, spinsters, daughters who couldn't land successful husbands or respectable careers. "The corner is perfect for watching real success," Victoria called out from the head table, raising her champagne flute with theatrical grace. "Though I suppose watching is all some people can manage, isn't it, dear sister?" I checked my phone discreetly. 12 missed calls from my board of directors about the emergency acquisition meeting. The luxury conglomerate deal we'd been orchestrating for months had suddenly accelerated. $15 billion hung in the balance, but my family was too busy celebrating their conventional achievements to notice my silent revolution. "Did you hear Victoria's latest triumph?" My aunt gushed while directing me to my isolation table like a wayward child. "Her new cancer drug just received FDA approval, $50 million in projected revenue, and James's merger is being featured in the Wall Street Journal." I nodded graciously, thinking about the contracts waiting in my private jet. The ones that would make their accomplishments look like participation trophies. "And you, darling," she paused with visible effort, "how's your little sewing project going?" "It's progressing," I said, the same diplomatic response I'd given for years while building my fashion and luxury goods empire from nothing. Let them think I was playing with fabric samples. Let them seat me in the corner. The helicopter would arrive soon enough. My sister Victoria glided over, champagne bubbling. As she spoke, "Oh honey, you really should let me introduce you to some eligible bachelors tonight. This independent woman act is getting tired, and frankly, at your age, options are becoming limited." I suppressed a smile, thinking about next week's Vogue cover. "Fashion's Secret Empress, The Hidden Empire of Isabella Chen." The headline would certainly provide some interesting breakfast reading for the family, and truly, she continued, examining my understated jewelry with pity, "you could at least try to look like you belong here. Designer knockoffs from whatever little boutique you frequent aren't fooling anyone." My phone vibrated urgently. "My chief financial officer. Board assembled. Dubai deal accelerated. Private jet standing by. Need immediate authorization," I texted back while watching my family's self-congratulatory circus. At the head table, my father was holding court, beaming as James detailed his latest impressive acquisition. "That's how you build generational wealth," he declared, raising his glass toward real business acumen. The toast echoed through the ballroom, none of them noticing I hadn't lifted my water glass in acknowledgement. They never noticed anything about me really. Not my design degree from Parsons. Not my strategic partnerships with European ateliers. Not the way I'd methodically built something that dwarfed their combined net worth. "Isabella," my father's voice boomed across the ballroom, carrying that familiar note of paternal disappointment, "surely you'll join us at the head table? James is about to announce his expansion into Asian markets." Asian markets. The same markets where my luxury goods were outselling established brands by margins that would make James's investment firm weep with envy. The same markets I'd conquered while he was still learning Mandarin from business school textbooks. I'm perfectly content here, I replied, checking my diamond-encrusted watch. 10 minutes until everything changed forever. Your loss, James shrugged, with trademark arrogance. We're discussing a potential 500 million expansion. Of course, that level of success requires understanding real commerce, not playing with pretty dresses. I heard the distant thunder of rotor blades as my phone erupted with urgent notifications. CEO authorization required. 15 billion pending. Board unanimous approval. Does anyone else hear that? Victoria frowned, squinting through the hotel's floor-to-ceiling windows at the night sky. The sound intensified as my sleek black helicopter descended toward the hotel's private helipad. My company's Phoenix logo gleaming gold against the aircraft's midnight surface. Through the ballroom's glass walls, I watched champagne glasses freeze mid-toast as my family stared in bewilderment. The helicopter's engines wound down as my security detail emerged, their coordinated precision a stark contrast to the ballroom's pampered atmosphere. Through the windows, I could see my family's expressions morphing from annoyance to confusion to dawning comprehension. Miss Chen, my head of security, approached my corner table with military efficiency. The board has assembled. Time-critical situation requires your immediate presence. Certainly, Marcus, I replied, rising from my designated exile with fluid grace. The acquisition documents are prepared? Yes, ma'am. 15 billion awaiting your signature. European. Markets open in 90 minutes. The sound of shattering crystal punctuated the moment. Victoria had dropped her champagne flute, her perfectly applied makeup unable to hide the blood draining from her face as she processed the numbers being discussed so casually at the failure table. 15 billion. My mother whispered, her perfectly manicured hand clutching her pearl choker. Isabella. My father stepped away from his head table, his commanding presence wavering for the first time in memory. What in God's name is happening here? I smiled, retrieving my phone to display the breaking news alert that had just appeared. Breaking. Global luxury empire Phoenix Holdings finalizes historic acquisition. CEO Isabella Chen closes $15 billion deal, reshaping industry landscape. Just handling some business matters, I replied with serene composure, savoring how James's confident smirk crumbled as he read over my shoulder. You know, my little sewing project you've all been so concerned about, but you can't possibly, James stammered, his 500 million suddenly looking embarrassingly modest. You're not the CEO of Phoenix Holdings, the same Phoenix Holdings that's revolutionized luxury retail across 6 continents? I asked with innocent curiosity. The one that's about to complete the largest acquisition in fashion history? I paused, letting the revelation settle like expensive perfume. The one that quietly purchased your struggling investment firm 6 weeks ago. The ballroom fell silent except for the gentle whirring of helicopter blades outside. You bought our company? My father's voice cracked like a teenager's. Through a subsidiary, I confirmed with a graceful nod. James's unprecedented success was actually unprecedented incompetence. The portfolio was hemorrhaging money. Fortunately, I was positioned to salvage the family reputation before he destroyed it entirely. Victoria stumbled forward, her designer gown suddenly looking desperate, rather than elegant. Why didn't you tell us? Tell you? I laughed, the sound like silver bells in a cathedral. Like when you announced I was wasting my prime childbearing years on craft projects? Or when James informed his colleagues not to take my amateur fashion experiments seriously? My phone chimed again. Another urgent message from my executive team. The situation truly was time-sensitive, but this moment was too delicious to rush. Miss Chen, Marcus reminded me diplomatically, the board is waiting. Of course, I collected my understated leather portfolio, the same one Victoria had dismissed as tragically suburban just hours earlier. Daddy, I'm afraid I'll have to cut your retirement celebration short. 15 billion doesn't wait for family functions, not even for daughters exiled to corner tables. Wait, my mother called out desperately, her social climbing instincts finally awakening. Perhaps we should reconsider the seating arrangements. The head table would be more appropriate for someone of your stature. Now you want me at the head table? I turned back, watching their faces transform with beautiful desperation. After years of treating me like a spinster failure? After relegating me to corners because my unconventional choices embarrassed you? After dismissing me as a hopeless case who couldn't catch a husband or build a real career? James stepped forward, his dealmaker facade cracking. Sis, we should discuss synergies. Maybe explore some strategic partnerships between our enterprises. You mean the enterprise I already own? I raised one perfectly sculpted eyebrow. The one you mismanaged into near bankruptcy while boasting about your brilliant leadership? That enterprise? The sound of a second helicopter approaching drew everyone's attention. My chief operating officer's arrival with the final contracts, precisely on schedule. 2 helicopters? Victoria whispered, her grip on her replacement champagne glass turning her knuckles white. The second aircraft is transporting documentation. I explained casually, watching their eyes widen like children seeing magic. When you're finalizing a $15 billion acquisition, proper logistics are essential. The weeks following my dramatic departure from father's retirement gala were a symphony of desperate damage control from my family. My phone buzzed incessantly with their increasingly frantic messages. James, we need to strategize immediately. I have innovative restructuring ideas. Victoria, darling, let me help curate your public image. Your minimalist approach needs sophistication. Mother, the club is absolutely buzzing about your helicopters. The Ashfords want to host a charity auction in your honor. Father, Princess, I always recognized your potential. We should discuss your leadership role in family enterprises. I forwarded every message to my assistant with a single instruction. Archive under to late for apologies. The morning newspapers were absolutely intoxicating. Fashion's hidden billionaire, the silent rise of Isabella Chen, Phoenix Holdings deal closes, $15 billion acquisition from hotel helipad, from corner table to corporate throne. How family rejection built an empire. From my corner office 60 stories above the city, I watched fashion industry news channels scramble to chronicle my story. The quiet woman who'd built a luxury empire while her family dismissed her as a spinster failure was apparently ratings gold. My assistant's voice floated through the intercom. Your sister is in the lobby again. She's carrying what appears to be a peace offering from Cartier. Let me guess, I smiled knowingly. The same bracelet she claimed was too ambitious for someone of my prospects last Valentine's Day. Precisely that piece. Should I grant her access? I reviewed my schedule, particularly the meeting with international investors eager to fund my next venture. My net worth had increased by another $3 billion since the acquisition. Decline, I decided, but please provide her with my business card. My authentic business card. I could envision Victoria's expression as she read my actual title for the first time. Isabella Chen, founder and CEO, Phoenix Holdings Global Luxury Empire. My phone rang. Father's number. I activated speaker mode while reviewing potential acquisition targets. Isabella, his voice had lost every trace of paternal condescension. We must discuss family business matters. Given your resources, which business specifically? I inquired with mock innocence. The luxury empire you never noticed I was constructing, or the investment firm I rescued from your golden child's incompetence? Both, he admitted quietly. I severely underestimated you. Yes, I agreed without hesitation. You all did, and that became the most valuable gift you ever gave me. I don't understand. While you were all performing success, I was achieving it. While you chased social validation, I built actual value. While you networked at country clubs, I revolutionized entire industries. The most beautiful part. None of you suspected because you were too busy feeling superior. My assistant appeared in the doorway, signaling that my investors had arrived. I must go, I informed father. Unlike some people, I actually built my empire instead of merely discussing it. Please wait, he said urgently. Your mother is hosting Sunday dinner tonight. Impossible, I interrupted smoothly. I'm acquiring another luxury house. But feel free to discuss James's 500 million dreams without me. I'm sure they sound impressive from the corner table. The following day brought a tsunami of messages as my family discovered my Fortune Global cover story. James, this changes everything. We should coordinate strategies, Mother. Darling, I always knew you possessed extraordinary potential. I transferred them all to a special folder labeled Corner Table Memories and focused on the acquisition proposals covering my desk. One proposal particularly captured my attention, an opportunity to purchase the Grand Metropolitan Hotel where they'd exiled me to the corner. My phone buzzed with a group message from the family chat I'd been excluded from for years. Urgent, emergency family meeting tonight. Mandatory attendance required. Must discuss future of Chen Family Enterprises. I responded with elegant brevity. Unable to attend. Currently busy being successful in my unconventional way. Please schedule through my office. I believe there's availability next quarter. At the corner table, naturally, then I contacted my real estate division. The hotel. Make the offer. When they accept, restructure the dining policies. Success no longer requires designated seating. The next morning, my family arrived at their exclusive brunch club to discover new ownership notices. A Phoenix Holdings property. Isabella Chen, CEO and founder. Sometimes success doesn't require announcement through designer labels and champagne ceremonies. Sometimes it simply needs revelation at the perfect moment, when those who doubted you finally comprehend that the woman they banished to corner tables now owns the entire establishment. Me? I returned to work in my understated office, which incidentally now commanded panoramic views of half the city's skyline. Because sometimes the most exquisite revenge isn't proving them wrong, it's allowing them to slowly discover exactly how spectacularly right you were all along. The emergency board meeting they dismissed as unimportant. It added another billion to my portfolio. The helicopters they'd stared at in shock. Merely two from the fleet I used to manage my global operations. The simple black dress they'd mocked. Bespoke couture costing more than Victoria's annual pharmaceutical salary. But the most satisfying element wasn't the money or the power or even the intoxicating taste of vindication. It was understanding that while they'd been posturing and performing and pretending at success, I'd created something authentic, something enduring, something that didn't require designer labels or head table validation to prove its magnificence. The next family function invitation arrived with a handwritten note. Head table reserved exclusively for you. No corner seating available, I declined, graciously, including a copy of my latest acquisition report. Regrettably busy purchasing another luxury conglomerate. Please enjoy your discussions over champagne, preferably the type that doesn't shatter when you hear astronomical figures, because ultimately, success isn't determined by where you sit at dinner. It's about owning the entire restaurant, the building housing it, and perhaps if you're feeling particularly nostalgic, the corner table where they once attempted to hide their shame. Welcome to my empire.